And we are back. Hello, I'm Sai. This is yet another episode of the life of Sir Brante. This is the same session. I usually record 2 episodes a day of this because my voice can only handle so much. If I can do more, I will record more because I think there's quite a few hours left in this game. Because we are really only at the middle of it. Anyway, last episode we joined the clergy. That was our big choice. So our life continues from there. Let's begin. Searching for the truth. Lessons at the seminary start early in the morning. Before the lessons come 2 prayers, one privately in your room, then a communal prayer in the refectory. The morning bell eases you from sleep in the morning. You adjust to the new routine more easily than you would have expected. The seminary students are quite numerous. You have counted more than 30 young adults studying with you. There are both boys and girls, but the girls already cover their hair and keep everyone at a distance. Most of the time, boys and girls study separately, unless the lesson is of particular importance. The classroom is vast, and the boys and the girls sit separately, watching the aged, unassuming teacher with rapt attention. His name is Father Jeremiah Hag. He writes a word in large letters on the blackboard, Isatius. It is a name you know well. Isatius was the disciple of the twins, the elder's favorite. He wrote the 2 books that lay down the teachings of the twins. The first book tells of how the twins are will and law and love. The second book tells of the lots and how each of the 3 estates is granted its own lot. For the entire first semester you will study only these 2 books, for they are the foundations of the faith. Father Jeremiah gives a passionate lecture about Isatius and describes his life. His words are filled with reverence. After all, Isatius surely was second to none when it comes to understanding their divine providence. After a dozen days in the seminary as a student, you hear a rumor. Luke, the Patriarch of Archnia, is about to come here, and the teachers are preparing themselves. Father Jeremiah informs you of the Patriarch's arrival a few days later. It is a tradition that every year the Patriarch of the capital province personally teaches a class for the first-year students of the seminary in Aeterne. The lesson in question will be held in 3 days. We teachers are aware that many students are too preoccupied with their current studies to attend this lecture. But I assure you, should you not attend this lesson, it will not affect you in any way. The students exchange wary glances. Skipping class is normally grounds for harsh punishment. This uncharacteristic mercy is only a few words away from saying you out to skip the lecture. Obviously they are saying it because of the new faith. Your curiosity is piqued. What is making the seminary teachers treat the Patriarch's lesson like this? Perhaps you should hear what he has to say and see for yourself. You decide to attend the lecture. The day comes. The lecture hall is half empty. There are several teachers in the hall as well, keenly eyeing every student who has chosen to attend this class. A few minutes behind schedule, Patriarch Luke arrives. You recognize his broad shoulders and thick brown beard right away. His eyebrows are thick too and brown, half-squinting eyes gaze out from under them. He greets the students with a smile and begins. The air in the seminary is so inspiring. There was a time when I too studied the teachings of the twins within these walls. My mind was overflowing with questions, but I found answers to only a few of them. I believe that many among you find little satisfaction in the answers that have come down to us from the faraway past, and I believe that you will yet find the answers that eluded me. More than 1,000 years ago, the twins came to our world. They brought us knowledge. After true death, each of us shall face divine judgment and retribution, and the fate of each of us in the hereafter depends on the righteousness of our worldly lives. You are students of the seminary. You are now studying the teachings of Isatius, the foundations of our faith. This student of the elder twin lovingly assumed all their words, all their guidance, and brought it to us who live in the present. But how true is it that the lots, the bonds that hold our present society together, were indeed established by the gods? There are whispers from the teachers' seats. They are not happy with these words, but none of them sees fit to interrupt the patriarch. Apart from the written works of Isetius, there is no other proof that the twins established the lots and told all people to follow them. While they were present in this world, neither the elder nor the younger ever mentioned separating people into 3 estates. The twins only told us of the judgment we shall face in the hereafter, and not of the laws by which they will judge us. That being said, I will ask you a question. The very questions my brethren fear so much. Is there not a chance Isetius was in error? For no mortal man is free of error. And is there not a chance we all are in error by repeating his words? Instead, would it not be more sensible for everyone to interpret the teachings of the twins individually? Perhaps the solution in teachings of Isetius was right for Isetius himself, and not for all of us. This dude is very smart. The teacher's displeasure grows louder and louder with Luke's every word. Finally, Father Jeremiah grows indignant enough to interrupt the lecture. This profane speech must end. How can a man of your rank be so imprudent and irresponsible as to confuse young people with such ungodly heresy? You will find that no soul in this very hall will ever doubt the truth as it is written in the sacred books. To this patriarch Luke smiles again. I am a mortal man, like Saint Isetius, so I may be in error as well, if this is indeed so, and no student of the seminary shares my concern enough to dedicate a paper to the questions I have asked, then I will curtail my dangerous speech, so as not to confuse these bright young souls. I wonder if no one else would dedicate a paper, write about it or something, only us. But if perchance you are the ones in error, if one of these bright young souls does in fact share my concerns, then my lectures on my outlook on Isetius and his writings will continue. The patriarch leaves. For a time the teachers converse in low voices. Then Father Jeremiah casts a watchful eye over the students and rises. It is natural for young people such as you to face the eternal truths with doubt, and the words you have heard may have sown themselves among those youthful doubts. But listen to what I am about to say. There is no place for such impiety in the life of a true priest. Heed my words, all of you, and consider the danger well before you allow such dangerous thoughts into the temple of your mind. There can be no doubt that the Patriarch of Archnia could never call the true faith into question. However, youths such as you, who are only beginning their service to the twins, may easily be led astray by such ideas, so be mindful of your thoughts and doubts, and weed out any impiety, for the path of heresy can lead only to the eternal suffering. You return to the monastic cell in which you live. The books of Isetius are right there on the shelf. You open the second book and run over the words about the lots. These words are the truth of truths. You learned them by heart when you were very young. How could anyone ever doubt them? Yet you cannot deny that there is at least one truth in Patriarch Luke's words, and this truth is gnawing at your mind. Isetius was indeed a mortal man. And, as a mortal, he could have been in error. He could have gotten it all wrong. These thoughts fill you with doubt. Huh? Why can't I? Because no willpower. Oh no. Reject the doubt and strengthen your belief. Your mind is made up. The Holy Writ is not to be judged or doubted. Support Patriarch Luke, which we can because we have no willpower. You decide to study this criticism of the Lord further and dedicate a research paper to the subject. Seek comfort in prayer. You seek solace and unity with the will, the law, and the love of the twins. Let me see. Exhausted. Oh, we need to be ready for action. At least. I'm just hoping maybe in the future we can do this. This is our biggest whiff yet. And I'm not even sure if in this chapter we used our willpower much. Seek comfort in prayer. The feud between Patriarch Luke and the seminary teachers make you think. Why do these old men have to argue over the interpretation of words written by a mortal man for mortal man? The most important thing here is the will of the gods, but it is being obscured behind a battle over dogma. I mean, that is a good point as well. If we truly want peace... this makes you think. Once your lessons are done for the day, you head for the temple. Inside you raise your head to look at the statues of the twins, the elder with the lash, the younger with the sword. They look at you, almost as if they are curious to see what you will do. You clasp your hands and whisper a prayer. It is part prayer, part question. What is their will? What did the twins truly intend to tell the people? How are we supposed to live? Your whispered words scatter among the tall pillars and stretch across the temple like a web waiting to catch an answer. Even the flicking candlelight seems to dance to the rhythm of your prayer. And then, you sense an unfamiliar feeling of comforting warmth. It is pulsing on your chest from the place where a priest's encircled cross would be. You do not notice when your prayer changes. It is no longer a question. It is now an expression of joy, a hymn to the twins, to their will and law and love, and to the lot and the wisdom they have brought into this world. No. The prayer ends, but the warmth in your chest remains. With that warmth comes understanding. Everything you are doing here is for a reason, and it is right. The twins are within you, they are guiding you. And when you speak in a temple one day, you will speak the will of the twins, and you will bring forth their gift to all existence. Oh, there we go. That plagues you no longer. We got enough willpower. We should really save up on that for future scenarios. We are 18. Year 1136, winter, the trial of the 50. You have lived another year in the capital. Aetherna has been shaken by what is now known as the trial of the 50. 50 people stand trial at once, all prominent members of several political circles. They are accused of treason and conspiracy against the crown. The accused spoke in favor of reducing the power of the nobles and granting more rights to the common estate. There was no mention of rebellion, yet those words alone were enough to indict them. Every session of the trial is open to the public. It is a show of power made to discourage people from forming such circles ever again. You attend one of these sessions. The 50 face their verdict: forced labor in the mines of Magra and Illyria for regular members and true death for their leaders, 6 men and 1 woman. Their public execution takes place in the central square of Aetherna. You remember the woman. Her name was Anisirin. She made a speech before her execution. A young woman, not too tall, her face almost plain, with long bangs over her eyes. She looks calm, even at this moment. You cannot believe she is about to leave this world forever. Anisirin takes a look around before she speaks. Her voice is quiet, but you are close enough to hear every single word. She says she is happy to give her lives fighting for the rights of the people. Her cause will never die. Any claims others like her will continue their work in hiding, for their cause is right and just. She is dragged away to the others. They put a sack over her head and tighten a noose around her neck. A hand yanks on the lever, and the 7 dangle in the air. Their feet tremble at first, then grow still. There are gasps and cries of discontent in the crowd. We are heading back towards the old ways. Order is rising though. The Black Book. Is that the book of executioners? Funny, because last night I was just doing a mission in what is it? Kingdom Come Deliverance, where I had to find this book. It might be just another black book though. Anyway, irrelevant. Continue. Your studies at the seminary continue. You assist with the preparations for church holidays and study the accounts of the twins' lives and the sacred scriptures. The seminary sends some of its students on a pilgrimage to the holy sites of the empire to follow in the footsteps of one of the twins. A large group of these pilgrims return to the seminary several weeks after their studies begin. Among the students in this group is a young woman who looks familiar. She holds her head high as her brown eyes, filled with wisdom and strength, study you attentively. She approaches you first. It is Jeanne. You met in the past by the silver tree in Anizote. Jeanne was but an acolyte at the temple by the tree at the time, but now she is in Eternal like you, almost ready to complete her studies. I remember you. I'm glad you're here, so you found your way to the priestly lot after all. She's eyes at his side. It's nice to see a familiar face from your former life. You start spending more time with Jeanne, praying and reading the sacred scriptures together. Most of the time you discuss theology, but the more you learn about each other, the more you start discussing your lives before the seminary. You tell her how Mother prepared you to serve the twins ever since you were a child, from daily prayers to following your lot in everything. As for me, I don't know who my parents are. I grew in the orphanage by the temple. Studying at the seminary has been my goal since as long as I can remember. The priests were kind to me, and now it is my sacred duty to serve the twins. With the first term exams now behind you, you are allowed to visit the Antiquarium, a special storage chamber for sacred relics and artifacts that harken back to the history of the faith. You invite Jeanne to go there with you. The inside of the antiquarium is quiet. The items you see beyond the glass panes and on the shelves are nothing short of amazing. One thick, ragged tome is an original work, inked by Isetis. You see old images of the twins' likenesses faded with time. You behold the lash used in the very first sacraments for the lowborn lot. The relics made of silver, the twins' blessed metal, are kept in a separate chamber. You take some time poring over these handcrafted sacred symbols. The shelves on the opposite wall are covered with silver colors, large and small. They're so elegant. The things we make are much simpler nowadays, always cast from silver, not forged by hand. Look, those old colors even had names stamped into the silver. Another wall is covered with thin silver slabs, prayers to the twins etched into the metal. After taking the priest's sacrament, any priest may use such silver slab to call the gods' power down upon their foes and work wonders even outside the temple grounds. Do you think these might be copies? Silver slabs disappear when they used, don't they? Just imagine the temptation, working wonders anywhere just like that. There is one more chamber at the farthest end of the antiquarium with only one relic within, the only room here that is guarded. Your voices trail off when Jeanne and you feel the eyes of the chamber guard upon you. He bears a scroll with a silver seal on his cassock. An inquisitor. What the inquisitor is guarding is a black book. Its pages blackened, seemingly by fire. The book lies inside a spacious cage forged of time-faded silver. You are not allowed to approach it, the Inquisitor says. What is it, you ask? The Inquisitor sighs and glances at the silver cage with worry and scorn. This is the most dangerous and vile of all the relics in the land, he says. It is a monument to the Dark Ages, when Archnians used to fight one another for power, a time when one of the great Archnian dynasties defied the twins' chosen tempests. The Archnian who owned this book was Char Milanides. Driven by helpless rage, he scourged the land of Magra and ravaged the Imperial army with a terrible curse. But the twins' power stripped him of his dark sorcery and the Holy Order brought him down. The book within this cage contains his sinister spells. What the Inquisitor says seems unbelievable. The books you have read say that all of Milanidas' relics were destroyed. He explains, however. Apparently, the book was utterly impossible to immolate. Even with the god's divine aid, the countless raging pyres it was subjected to could only blacken the pages with ash, but not destroy them. The dark magic remains within the book, preserving its blasphemous sorcery. But the book alone was not enough. The rebellious Duke turned his very land into a weapon by destroying it. The Holy Order, the swords of the twins, surrounded the Milanidas' forces along with the Imperial army. Their victories were numerous, for the true fate guided them towards the city of Anisote. With no other way to prolong the war and nourish his magical powers, the rebellious Duke squeezed all life from the land of Magra and transformed it into dark sorcery. And so the province of Magra, ruled by Char Milanidas, became an infertile desert during that war. The people of Milanidas began dying from sicknesses, famine, and many fled to the neighboring lands. Yet this evil act did little to stop the twins' true believers. By the prayer of the priests, the gods took away the dark magic of Char Milanidas and dispelled the cursed sorcery he had wrought. The Holy Order dealt swiftly with the remnants of Milanidas' army, while the Inquisition captured all the mages and witches hiding in Anisote. Char Milanidas himself was executed as an oathbreaker possessed by heresy, who had destroyed the fertile lands of Magra and starved thousands of his subjects to death. Be wary of magic, for magic is an ungodly power that distorts and plagues all it touches and so must be eradicated, the Inquisitor concludes. These words seem to affect Jeanne deeply. She turns pale and walks out of the room containing the encaged book. You thank the priest for his story and follow her. You find the poor girl sitting on a bench in the park by the trampool, her face hidden in her arms. You lightly tap her on the shoulder and ask what is troubling her. When I came to Eterna, I wasn't alone, you know. I had a friend, almost a sister. Her name is Alice. I have one goal here, to serve the twins, but she wanted to be an actress. I argued against it. I told her that acting was in defiance of her lot, but Alice wouldn't listen. She's performing in taverns now and in markets on holidays. I went to one of her performances once, just the other day, in fact. And I saw her eyes glowing yellow. Every time her eye flashed, the people would applaud her. She's not just defying the lot, she's using magic. Alice is practicing the dark arts. Sorry, the dark arts. No, I said it. Ignore that, okay. Confounding people's minds with sorcery. I was far enough away, her spell didn't reach me. I want to, but I can't tell the Inquisition about her. Alice is my only real friend in the world, and she's a witch. I don't know what to do. You dumb girl, you just came clean to us about that. Jeanne's shoulders tremble with anxiety. Her brown eyes are red with tears as she looks at you, hoping for guidance that will save her from error. What do you tell Jane? Or Jeanne? Tell no one about Alice. The twins are low, and the other twins are love as well. It would be best to give Jeanne's friend a chance to reconcile with the twins on her own. Inform the Inquisition. Those who wield magic are dangerous. They must be kept away from people. Or guide your friend to the right path. You convince Jeanne to give counsel to her friend and guide her to the right path. Jeanne is not a priestess yet, but this is a sacred duty, nevertheless. What is the right path, though? Let's consider. We keep this between us. What kind of choice that is? A natural one. Like, yeah, this seems to be the clearest. This is obviously the evil. We are with the old church. We don't like magic. But what about this? I'm confused. Will this use willpower? Or will it always show the willpower icon when it does? I think it does, right? And what does guide your friend to the right path? What is the right path? Turning herself in? I tell no one about Alice. That's what I will choose. Give me a second to drink. Sorry. Okay. You look away from John and ask her a question. Does she feel any evil in Alice's heart? Would she ever use that power to harm others? Jean shakes her head. No, Alice would never do that. But what will she face in the hereafter? How will she be judged? If this is true, you say, then there is no need for the Inquisition. Why do you say that? Because your friend is no Charmilanidas, you say. She is not killing the land, she is not defying the gods' chosen order, she is not starving thousands, and she will never harm others. If Alice remains free, she will have a choice to willingly reject her accursed power and accept the lot she was dealt. But if the Inquisition finds her, she will be stripped of her lot and turned into a limp mockery of a human bound in a silver collar. She will never find her way to the twins in the house of humility. How dare you say such a thing? This is heresy. The twins abhor all magic. The twins gave people the lots, you say, and they gave them the will to live their lives. The younger shall meet us all in the hereafter, and every decision shall be judged. The mages have their own burden to bear, their own trial to overcome, and that trial is their power. They must overcome it, or fail and face punishment at the foot of the pillar. Jeanne leaps to her feet, anger burning in her tearful eyes. And what if the Inquisition fights her? They burn her at the stake. And then what? Before that happens, Jeanne should talk to her friend and explain her situation, you say. Jeanne must take care of her and teach her how to hide her power. The best way for a witch to stay alive would be to flee Eterna and join a traveling troupe. Steadfast in fate. Jeanne thanks you. Her voice rings with calm confidence now. She sees that firm faith does not mean zealous dogmatism, you realize. She has had to break the law for the sake of love. The twins are law, yet the twins are also love. Oh. Youthful actress and singer, known as the Golden Voice, she quickly became famous in every inn in Eterna for her irresistibly enchanting looks. She came to the capital along with Jean, who used to be an acolyte at the temple at the Silver Tree. So we have a side story related to her as well. If we look in the Destinies, I think. Or, yeah, here. You saved the enigmatic singer known as the Golden Voice from an untimely death. Okay. Jean thanks you. Oh, sorry, we read this. More scheming? Or scheming, sorry. Oh, I guess we did it. Year 1136, summer, the feast of the air. The capital is preparing for a great celebration, the coming of age of Gerayan, Tempest, heir to the throne. Ribbons and flags flutter in the wind, the streets are scrubbed clean, and the scent of flowers fills the air. You too set some time aside to join the celebration. It is not often that you can see the ruling family of the Empire firsthand. The celebration day comes, and the Eterna is abuzz. The festive procession starts on the streets. Students from the college and cadets from the military academy march in front, lined up in columns, and other citizens follow suit. You join the parade around the tail of the procession. Before long, it reaches the square in front of the Emperor's palace. The ruling dynasty of Tempest observes the parade from the palace balcony. They are joined by the Emperor's highest dignitaries and province overseers. For the first time in your life, you see Emperor Uther II with your own eyes, there high above. The columns of college students and academic cadets come to a halt at the balcony and salute the Emperor with their mottos. The Emperor raises his hand in a gesture of benevolent greeting. Then his voice echoes across the square. You can hear him easily, even from so far away. I accept your gratitude, my loyal subjects. Take pride as you wield your knowledge and valor in service to the Empire. All who are worthy will be ennobled by the mantle, by my grace. The nobles-to-be cheered the Emperor's words, but then Archduke Monroe, oh not him again, steps onto the balcony and their jubilation gives way to murmurs of discontent. Everyone here remembers all too well how the ruler of Monia tried to shut down the college by force. Still, the Archduke is the de facto leader of the Archnian gentry. He is a force to be reckoned with even for the Emperor. Hail, your Emperor, common folk! Be forever obedient and grateful for the good graces you do not deserve by birth. But then everyone grows silent. A young, slender Archnian with a shy smile comes forth. There are whispers in the crowd. That's Prince Jaren, heir to the throne, student of Cornelius, promise and the hope of the common estate. To the left of Jaren is his younger brother Flavius. He is baffled at the sight of the parade below, too young to process what he is seeing. May the twins be kind to you, my future subjects. I promise to repay you in kind and help you prosper in your loyal service to the Empire. Okay, let's take a moment. I think Uther will die. That's probably will be near the ending, right? At the revolt, and maybe the heir to the throne will be an important choice that we could affect as well. Exalted by these words, the nobles-to-be roar as one. All hail Prince Jerian. Another figure steps into view next to the heir. He is an Archnian, elegantly dressed, and his mantle bears the Tempest colors. He raises his arms, about to make a speech. Gaius. Or Gaius. I think it's Gaius. Long live Prince Jerian, students of the college, cadets of the academy. Time and again you have proven yourselves to the Empire by word and deed. Today is a day of great celebration, and in honor of Prince Jerian you must ask the Emperor to guarantee forever the right of distinguished common folk to be ennobled by the mantle. So ask now. The cadets and students freeze in hesitation. They exchange glances, unsure whether to follow the words of the Emperor's own brother. On the balcony high above, Prince Jerian also remains still, listening to every reaction from the crowd. Archduke Monroe briskly steps into view once more. He takes several seconds to observe the crowd before he speaks. Imperial subjects, what the Emperor's brother wishes to say is that you must always remember that you owe your status to the Tempest dynasty. The Emperor accepts your gratitude and sends you up with his blessings. You may leave now. Commotion and murmurs spread over the crowd as some of the nobles-to-be refuse to follow Archduke Monroe's orders. There are shouts heard here and there. The law! We ask for the law! The academy officers and teachers of the college urge them to fall in line and resume the parade, but tension is rising. The crowd slowly grows enraged and unruly. An Imperial Guard cavalry regiment emerges from the palace. They start slowly advancing, and the crowd, hands on their swords, pushing people out of the square. The commoners are now running left and right. You too have to move away. This quickly quells the commotion in the square, and the cavalry withdraws. Emperor Uther II appears on the balcony again. Archduke Monroe stands by his side. The square falls silent at the sight of the sovereign. My subjects, I can see how overjoyed you are for Prince Jerian, but your show of reverence and gratitude was clear enough. Now obey my will. Continue the parade and sing the praises of the Tempest dynasty that has given you so much. The square obediently lines up in columns once again. The bout of defiance is in the past now, and they resume the festive parade through the city streets. Glory to Emperor Uther, glory to Prince Jerian. Power sinks again. Year 1136 summer. Letters from home. There are days when you receive letters from home. Father's writing is very reserved. He mostly discusses events and work in Magra and writes very little about the family. It makes me proud that I have managed to teach Stefan how to handle our affairs at home. Your older brother behaves impeccably at society balls and the receptions that we host. He has already made several crucial acquaintances. But Gloria has a different opinion of Stefan. She thinks your older brother is taking more and more after grandfather. Stefan is a lot like grandfather. It's in his manners, his posture, his voice. He even dresses just like him. He used to be aloof around me and we barely talked in the past, but now he always blames me and tears me apart. I can't take it anymore. He walks all over me all the time and treats me like a housemate. Mother writes to you. From her letters you learn that Nathan just barely managed to graduate from school. It makes me sad to admit that Nathan has none of the talents you have. The other day he told me he won't even try to study in the capital. He says he won't be able to pass the exams. I found solace only in the nights Nathan and I spend together reading the scriptures and our walks to the church by the silver tree. He accompanies me every time. Your sister and younger brother write about mother too, and they say the same thing about her health. She now spends more time locked away in her chambers to brood. Gloria does her best to accompany mother when she leaves home, and Nathan's letters mention her steps echoing in the halls in the middle of the night. There is one more thing Nathan mentions in his letters. Stefan and Gloria have been fighting very often these days. Stefan always tries to get under Gloria's skin, and she answers him in kind. Then Stefan calls her a lowly commoner to make her shut up. You always tremble in excitement each time you see a new letter with the seal of your home province. Your fate is still bound tightly to your families no matter the distance between you. Just like that, sympathy. Oh. Okay. I'm guessing that's natural because we are far away from home, maybe? Matters of fate. The months fly by now. Every day at the seminary is filled with study and work. You are being trained to live by your new lot. There can be no rest from service to the twins. You are well acquainted with your instructors now, and with each passing day you come closer to being their equal. Every month you and your class learn more about the sacred scriptures and the life and routine of the church, and how to guide others to live by their lots. Learn about the founding of the church and the 3 councils at which the twins' disciples first established the dogmas of the faith. When the first council met, they pronounced that the twins' faith would be the only faith throughout the empire for all eternity, and that the Tempest dynasty would rule the land by their will, for they were chosen by the gods. The first council also condemned all magic within the empire rather than the wonders sent down by the twins themselves. The Inquisition was created to enforce the order established by the twins and cleanse all heresy and sorcery from hearts, minds, and bodies. Mages and witches were offered 2 choices. They could either accept the color and reject their powers, or perish in the ritual of purifying flame. When the Second Council met, the Holy Order was founded. It became the mighty sword wielded by the Church against its enemies. Nobles who sought to serve the twins with their arms formed the ranks of this order. When the Third Council met, the 2 books of Prophet Isaiah and the accounts of the twins' own lives were deemed the sacred scriptures of the faith. It was then pronounced that no more councils would ever be convened, so that the foundations of the faith could never be warped. The main dogmas of the faith are the same for everyone. However, the seminary students prepare for the lot that lies ahead in different ways. Some of them study the scriptures, spending hours at the temple every day, attending every sermon and mastering the art of preaching. Jeanne often appears among their ranks. These preachers ardently follow the age-old traditions and dogmas, doing everything just as it was done hundreds years ago. Others, you call them supplicants, rarely attend sermons, but spend plenty of time in prayer rooms and temples and by the altars. You know, these supplicants are seeking the twins within themselves and looking for them in the signs and revelations they experience. There are still others who are never seen during sermons or in prayer rooms. You only see them during lessons, and when the lesson is over, they cross the gate of the seminary and disappear into the city, often waking you up when they return in the small hours of the night. The secret society. You call these students who are clearly united by a shared mystery. There are only a handful of them. When they meet, they sit at the same table and speak in hushed whispers, falling silent if anyone tries to approach them. You have not joined any of these groups yourself. For now, you spend your days and nights in study. Today is yet another ordinary day at the seminary. You sit in the common room reading a book when Jeanne approaches you. Okay, so I see sort of where this is going. So inside the faction you have even more faction choices, like sub-factions. So we can choose to be a supplicant, be like a zealot, or join the secret society. Interesting. The latter two, I think. No, sorry. Supplicant and the secret society is what I'm thinking about. Which one would be better? Anyway. Why are you always alone with your books? You should learn from your elders and attend sermons if you hope to walk the path of priest. We can go to the next sermon together if you wish. You promise to consider her offer. As priests, you will be bound by the law to the will of the twins, not the will of your instructors. Still, the will of the twins is a mystery, and their revelations are ever involute. Come to think of it, learning from senior priests and studying their habits might be the best way to understand your lot. Lost in thought, you look at the enigmatic handful of students sitting in the faraway corner of the hall. What mystery are they hiding? What path have they chosen to walk? You need to decide what to do next. One way or another, Jeanne is right. Your books will never do your preaching for you. Oh. You begin attending sermons and learn how to preach. Search for the divine within yourself. You begin praying more often, calling out to the twins, striving to learn more about their wisdom and partaking of their will, love, and love. Or infiltrate the secret society. You grow closer to the enigmatic group of seminary students, hoping to learn their secrets. I'm tempted to do this, much more so than searching for the divine within myself. But this is a really hard choice, I think. Because basically by this, you choose the twins, even if they are like effed up and evil, right? Even if their laws were intended, but you still probably will be in balance. But with this, you decide that you want to change society, I think, by fate and manipulation, I think. Hard choice, I'm going to make it. Sermons and prayers are something you already know. Right now, you would rather learn something else, something new. For several days in a row, you attempt to take a seat near the enigmatic seminary students. They eye you with suspicion and avoid you every time. When you realize that this approach is not working, you try to ingratiate yourself with the member who seems most eager to talk. You inquire about their secret meetings and promise to keep what he tells you a secret. He tells you nothing, but he does say that he will consult with the other members of the society. Several days later, one of the enigmatic students nonchalantly invites you to take a walk with him and the others. You nod. You are strongly warned that everything that happens here must remain a secret. You swear not to tell a soul. You are going to a sermon. One of the students whispers in your ear as you walk the streets of Eterna. But, he adds with a crafty smile, you have never heard a sermon like this before. It will turn vision of the twins upside down. In the end, curiosity gets the better of your doubts. The students lead you to the basement of a lavishly decorated house. There are at least 50 more people in the basement hall, many of them dressed in the latest fashion. You can even see college students among the crowd. They are all waiting for someone. Finally, a stout man with a bald spot walks up to the pulpit. He is wearing a cassock, but you notice that he is not wearing the twins' cross. He seems good-natured enough. His plain face is lit up by the serene smile. Father Mark, traveling preacher, his doctrine of defiance of the twins has found supporters among all estates. Greetings, brethren. It warms my heart to see new faces here. My name is Father Mark, and I say to you, reject the twins. Cast them aside. For a moment, there is silence. You look at Brother Mark in terror, then at the seminary students who brought you here, then back at him again. The other students are staring at the false priest with what can only be described as adoration. The truth is that there is no difference between eternal bliss and eternal suffering. We will be deprived of our will in the hereafter, deprived of our every selves, immersed within the will of the twins. There will be no we in the hereafter. Our existence and our freedom exist only in the here and now. We exist only so long as we live in this world. If we resign ourselves to the lots, if we resign our lives to the will of the twins, we willingly deprives ourselves of our... I think it's a typo again. We willingly deprive ourselves of our one chance to live, even in the short time we are allotted. We can only be our true selves and live our lives to the fullest if we reject the gods and cast away the burden of the lots. Life is short, and so we must strive to do everything before it ends. There will be no desires after the gods judge us, nor will there be any way to fulfill them in the hereafter, for we will have no will of our own. Our will exists only now, so focus on worldly life, my brethren. Reject the divine law and write your own law here in this world. Father Mark's speech is long, very, very long, and his mellow expression never changes. This man is a heretic, yet everybody admires him so much. After some time, you start thinking there might be a kernel of truth in what he is saying. Every person lives their life bound by their lot, by tradition, by duty, by honor. Your entire life is predetermined, whether you like it or not, and an opportunity to cast off this burden and seek a different way feels fascinating, even thrilling. Father Mark is a splendid orator. His words are simple and powerful, and none of them ever fall on deaf ears. You cannot help but feel respect for this man, even if you cannot accept what he is saying. You keep thinking about his outlandish sermon after you return to the seminary. The sermon was like a breath of fresh air. It gives you a glimpse of the very freedom Father Mark was talking about. Scheming, diplomacy, and a little less willpower. Okay. You broke the rules, you strayed from the choices they wanted you to make, you sought other answers, sought something unlike the common knowledge truth. And you liked it. Tonight you felt alive, you felt emotion, you were outraged, you were enchanted. You were a part of this world, and the world gave you the strength to keep on living. Year 1137, summer, the overseer of Magra. Two major events take place while you are busy living your life. Firstly, Cornelius Tempest is no longer the great chancellor of the empire. He has been ousted and sent back to his province. His replacement is the Archduke of Monia, Aegirus Monroe. The same Monroe who sought to shut down the college. The most powerful lord in the realm finally convinced the emperor that his brother Cornelius was giving too much freedom to the lowborn. that the policies of the Empire will be reversed. Many fear that the great new Chancellor will destroy the Imperial Code of Laws and the other achievements of Cornelius. There are cautious rumors among the people. They say the new great Chancellor is going to revoke the right of the common lot to be ennobled by the mental. Secondly, Magra, your homeland, now has a new overseer, Gaius Tempest, the other brother of Emperor Uther II. Usually the overseer of a province is its archduke. After all, it makes sense for the province's most powerful nobility to impart the emperor's will to the locals. Yet, now this age-old tradition has been broken, and to no one's surprise, Archduke Tarquinius Milanidas is absolutely furious. Gaius Tempest used to be the main supporter of his brother, former Great Chancellor Cornelius Tempest. The nobles at the Emperor's court say this is a stratagem by the Archnian gentry who want Gaius removed from court affairs along with Cornelius. Either way, Gaius Tempest and Tarquinius Milanidas will be at each other's throats over the province. This does not bode well for their future. Only one thing is clear, Magra, your home province, is about to face great changes. Okay. Probably will lead to some trouble at home, I assume. A criminal relationship. Spring is in full bloom. The city of Eterna is a sea of flowering trees. The apple trees are particularly prevalent. You see them growing everywhere in the seminary yard alone. How nice it would be to sit here with a good book, enjoying the apple blossoms and getting lost in important thoughts. But there is no time for that. A recent incident has the entire seminary on edge. One of the senior seminary students has been accused of having a relationship with a witch. The Inquisition had been watching the girl for a long time. When the lovers met and the girl put a flower wreath on the student's head, the Inquisition spies saw it all. The lovers were immediately arrested. You hear about it from Jeanne. She looks very anxious when she comes to you to discuss the news. Are you going to watch the trial? They are only allowing priests and seminary students to attend it. We have to be there. It's an important case. We can learn so much from seeing the Holy Tribunal in action. You agreed to go with her. After all, the case is highly unusual indeed. Junius Diamond, one of the leaders of the new faith, has stepped forth to defend the student and the girl. You have already met the other leader of the new faith, Luke, Patriarch of Archnia. But Patriarch Junius holds much more authority. The seminary students speak of him in hushed voices and only when the instructors are not around. Junius Diamond is more than a patriarch of one of the provinces. He is an Archnian hailing from one of the great dynasties and the leader of the Holy Order, the Empire's finest knights in service to the Twins' Church. The prosecution will be represented by Father Ulrich. He is a powerful inquisitor and the head warden at the House of Humility, the forces that colors all mages and subdues their will to the service of the Inquisition. You have heard him. He is a fierce man who is ardent and merciless in service to the Twins. The day comes. The spacious courtroom is filled with people. All the seats are taken. The judges sit at a long table upon a platform. There are 10 of them, all high-ranking members of the church. To the right of them is a man in a black cassock. His head is shaved and his back is perfectly straight. This man, Father Ulrich, a true and lawful inquisitor, will represent the prosecution. To the left of the judge's table stands an Archnian. He is wearing a white cassock with a cape of white and gold on his shoulders. The Archnian's blue hands rest on the edge of the table and his expression is that of a perfect calm. This man, Patriarch Junius Diamond, will represent the defense. To the left of him sit the accused, a young man in a seminary uniform and a young girl who looks like she just came back from the foot of the pillar. They are both bound in chains. Even from your distant seat, you can see that the inquisitors have shown her no mercy. The girl's face and neck are covered in bruises. There are bloody wounds on her left hand where her fingernails should be, and her right hand bears a horrible black burn. Loud voices emanate from the stalls even before the trial begins. Some chide Patriarch Junius, while others call out Father Ulrich. There are more and more of these shouts with every passing minute, and soon a Judge Gavel can do very little to rein them in. The trial begins. Father Ulrich is the first to speak. Judges of the Holy Tribunal, and you, my brethren, this is an act of sacrilege beyond compare, committed within the walls of our own seminary. This man is a venomous viper nurtured in the church bosom. He defied all that is forbidden and engaged in an act of hideous lechery, already a malefaction. But worse yet, the object of his lust is an abhorrent, sinful witch. The young woman in question looks up. You see the color of her eyes, vibrant, radiant, emerald green like the tender grass of spring. You recall a cautionary tale. Such eyes are the mark of a mage who holds sway over wildlife and nature. Oh, okay, so all the magic users have different eye colors given the kind of magic they can practice. Interesting. So then the orangish yellowish is like the fire. Okay. This blasphemer deserves nothing less than true death for what he had done. The walls of the church are no place for traitors and licentious filth, who bring the will of the twins to the world may afford no weakness. As for the witch, put her in a collar and cut off her nose so that her comely appearance may never again lead a righteous man astray. The fuck? With that, Father Ulrich takes his seat. The man who rises next is Patriarch Junius. He's a tall pillar, and you feel an inexplicable power emanating from him. He takes his handstand before the judges. Even before he speaks, Jean winces in disgust. To her, an ally of the new faith deserves neither tolerance nor sympathy. He's already drenched in sin, and yet he thinks he can talk justice. Junius Diamond begins to speak. Let me read this, but sometimes these can contain spoilers, so be careful. Patriarch of Astinia, one of the leaders of the new faith, hails from one of the great Agnian dynasties and commands the Holy Order, warriors of the faith who answer only to the church. As a result, his words carry considerable weight with the imperial authorities. May it please the tribunal, the accusation is indeed true. The young man before us is at fault. It was his duty to convince the lady he had befriended to renounce all magic, and yet he encouraged her profane practices. But Father Ulrich's proposal is far too severe. I seek no lesser punishment for the witch. This is a matter for the Inquisition. But the young man need not be executed. His life is the subject of my debate. Really? So still no to witches, huh? Interesting. It was not by force that the young man now stands before us. He sought the twins entirely of his own volition, and so I plead with the Holy Tribunal to spare his life. May he instead take the vows and habit of a monk and a vow of silence and be subject to corporal punishment, for the ways of the church are stern but fair. This young man need not lose his life in order to redeem himself. An accusation flies from the crowd. So Junius favors mages and takes them under his wing in his province. Look at the man who dares doubt our lots and reject the orthodox faith. We won't let your kind gain ground in Eterna. This in turn sparks a different cry. Another voice accuses Ulrich of being drunk with the power he has acquired by enslaving those who wield magic. Patriarch Junius attempts to pacify his followers as accusations from the Inquisitor's side keep coming. Father Ulrich marks each condemnation of Junius and the new faith with an agreeable nod, his mouth a crooked smile. The crowd begins to move. Those who side with the Inquisition start pushing against the guards to exact their own brand of justice. Junius's followers do not stand still either. They rise and form a circle around the Patriarch, as well as the men and women on trial. Accusations fly, and the air above the crowd grows hot with boiling rage. People are pushing and shoving. You hear screams of panic among the cries of outrage. You and Jean find a temporary refuge on a podium rising above the human sea. The courtroom is becoming dangerous. You must attempt to escape now or risk being trampled. There is still time for either Patriarch Junius or Father Ulrich to say something, to calm the crowd. Remind them why they are here, but they both froze in confusion, unable to rein in the coalescing madness. Perhaps you could make your voice heard from atop the crowd, or would it be more sensible to escape the chaos of this courtroom? Oh, thankfully, I was worried that the good option was not available to us. So we could defend the student. You shout in support of the seminary student and cite sacred scriptures to back up your point. Or demand punishment. You yell an accusation and condemn the defendants. If they are forgiven now, this will all happen again. Or flee. Take Jean by hand and start pushing and shoving through the crowd to escape the courtroom. Oh boy, I'm kind of scared that if I do this, the crowd will execute me as well or something. Hopefully they won't. I think I have one more death left before I truly die. I know I have I think I can die one more time without punishment. So defend him. You take a deep breath and shout. The seminary student is not a full priest just yet. He has not undergone the second sacrament. He must not be judged by the laws of the clergy. Assisting a witch is a crime, but a commoner's punishment for this crime should not be as severe as this. Then you hear the voice of Patriarch Junius above the crowd. He repeats what you said, almost word for word. This young man is still a commoner. He has not accepted his new lot yet. We cannot judge a commoner by the laws of the clergy. A monk is what he shall become, and through his prayer and his oath of silence, he shall fulfill his lot and reach the peak of the pillar, but only then. The din of the crowd dies down. The disturbance dissipates as everyone hears your words spoken with the authority of Patriarch Junius. Everyone takes their seats again, and the trial continues. After a brief discussion, the judges side with the defense. Father Ulrich and the inquisitors take the girl away. The monks deal with the young man. The lovers can do nothing but exchange a brief farewell glance. Yeah, fuck you, Jean. All eyes are on Patriarch Junius, the man who prevailed in this case. You glance at Jean. Her eyes are narrow slits as she stares you down. She knows full well who said the words the Patriarch repeated. Oh, all this is increasing our valor, which will be good at fighting. We wanted to speak to Jeanne again, but she disappeared the next day. Some say she was sent somewhere else to study. Strange. Why did she tell you nothing? Why did she not say goodbye? You keep waiting for news from her at first, but as the days go by, your thoughts turn to the upcoming exams and the second sacrament. All the sacred scriptures, holy procedures, and sacred hymns have been memorized long ago. You know the names of every disciple of the elder and the younger, all the patriarchs of the provinces from the very first to the present day. And most importantly, your faith is strong and your confidence is unshakable. The exams are behind you now. On the day of your second sacrament, you come to the great temple of the twins already dressed in a priestess cassock. Father Jeremiah holds your belt in one hand. He will conduct your sacrament. His other hand holds the sacred book. You are to kiss it to show your complete submission to the will of the twins. You approach the altar on the commoner's side. The jagged floor hurts as it bites into your bare feet, but there is a hint of pleasure in that pain. You kneel before Father Jeremiah on the lowest of the steps leading to the altar. He speaks the words of your new lot above you. Thou shalt now carry the will of the twins to the world. Whosoever cometh to thee thou shalt give him guidance. The twins are love and will and law. Thus shalt bring it to the world. Thy new lot is to interpret the lots and give counsel in faith. Arise, priest. You kiss the book and stand up, confidence blooming within you. You now know the answers to all questions. You are now a messenger of the true word, the one who carries true understanding. You have the power to guide people toward the righteous path, to help them see the truth, to help them find answers. For the twins will it so. Now strength fills you. By the grace of the elder you may pray to him to heal and cure those who suffer. By the law of the younger you may pray to him to bind your foes with his wondrous power. When no one is looking, you reach for your back. The mark of the lash is gone. Oh, interesting. So priests have superpowers. That's new info. You feel as though you can breathe more easily now. And the morning after you are to conduct the sacrament for the first time, you walk into a small temple on the outskirts of Eterna. Acolytes are running to and fro preparing for the ritual while you repeat the words of the lots that you must tell the children. Slowly the temple fills with people. You stand at the altar now, the sword in one hand and the lash in the other. 3 boys are to receive their sacrament today, a little nobleman and 2 low-born boys of the same age. The noble's boys' parents are nervous and ask you to hurry with the sacrament, and so you begin. With confidence and proper pace, you recite the words of a noble's lot to the little boy kneeling before you. Then you carefully bring the flat of the sword to his lips. The boy kisses it, and you thank the twins under your breath. Now it is time for the common children to receive their sacrament. You notice movement in the temple out of the corner of your eye. Someone is standing in the doorway. It is the silhouette of a woman. You recognize her. She looks sterner now, harsher, but the most striking feature about her now is her eyes. They are cold, yet curious. Something glints on Jean's belt now. It is the silver seal of the Inquisition. Do continue, priest. The boys stand before you, just like you and Nathan when you were boys. You were just like them at your first sacrament. The elder of the 2 kneels on the jagged floor. He winces slightly but holds back the tears. You recite his new lot for him and strike him twice with the lash. He shudders, yet humbly accepts the first suffering of his life. They bring the other boy to you next. He is kicking and squirming and his face is red with tears. They force him to kneel and he falls on all fours. The floor draws blood from his hands. Adult hands hold him still. Adult voices chide him angrily. You say the words of his new lot and strike him once with the lash. The lash cuts right through the boy's shirt and soaks it with blood. The boy's cries turn to screams. You raise your head slightly and notice Jean's watchful eye. She's there, waiting. You look back down at the boy. He looks so much like Nathan. Just as frightened, just as distraught, just as defenseless. You hesitate, unsure of what to do. The ritual must be finished by your lot. You must bring forth the will of the twins and perform the sacrament of suffering. But this little boy huddling at your feet is so young. He will no doubt see so much suffering in his life. Perhaps you should show him that the word can be merciful too. Oh, hard choice. Oh, sorry, I should read this out. You tell the child to rise, the sacrament is done. Have mercy on the child, that's the option. Strike with all your might. You whip the boy a second time with all your might, just as the sacrament demands. Okay, here's some things to consider. The child, while he is in physical danger, even if you manage to kill him somehow with the second lash, I mean, couldn't we heal him as well after it? Because we have those powers. But even if we kill him, he probably has like 4 more lives, right? I know that's a very messed up thing to say or think about it, but still. But I think this is more about sending a message of mercy and change. However, Jean, as an inquisitor there, is pretty effed up. I have a feeling she might snitch on us, and that will get us into trouble later. Or something really messed up. But we have a trump card on her, perhaps something that we could use, that we saved her witch friend. So I will have mercy on the child. And hopefully this won't backfire. You lower the lash, unable to bring yourself to strike again. Then you lean over the boy and help him to his feet. The temple falls completely silent as you apologize to the boy for hurting him. Perhaps the new fate is right. Perhaps the lots are just an error made by Isetis. You want to believe this as you look into the boy's tearful face. You can feel the parents, the acolytes, and the congregation watching you in confusion. The boy gets to his feet, sniffing, and you tell him to go and live by his lot. But on the side you are overcome by a surge of emotion. There is a tense feeling in your chest as you think of your younger brother. You miss him so much. You cannot wait to go home and embrace your mother. Oh, this is foreshadowing that mother is probably dying or dead, right? The acolytes take the sword and lash away. You turn to face the altar and mutter a quick prayer to the twins for this day. You hear quiet footsteps behind your back. You know they are Jean's. Her gaze burns into your back. You do not turn around. You can never show mercy if you are to carry out the will of the twins. That boy was supposed to feel the full burden of his lot. Why did you have mercy on him? Jean takes a deep breath, ready to continue her indigent tirade. The next moment her speech is cut short by a powerful voice that would make anyone shudder. Enough, Sister Jean. This is not why we are here. You hastily turn around and see Inquisitor Ulrich appear from the shadows. He has been watching you perform the sacrament this whole time? Father Ulrich, I beg you to consider. Brother Brante isn't ready to bear such a duty. Oh, are they planning me to be a spy for the Inquisition? In the new fate? That is for me to decide, says Ulrich. Jean frowns but falls silently, pursing her lips. Ulrich turns his heavy gaze on to you. For 2 years I have been watching you, Brante. Now the time has come for you to join us. Ulrich hands you a scroll marked with the silver seal of the Inquisition. Brother Brante, the Church is appointing you an Inquisitor. You are to return to your native land and protect our true faith against heresy. Jean pierces you with an intense stare. There is doubt in her eyes. You bow your head and accept the scroll from Ulrich's hands, and you solemnly fasten the Inquisitor's insignia to your belt. By the will of the Church and the gods themselves, you are now a servant to the Holy Order of the Inquisition. Henceforth, your life belongs to your order. You shall fight against any apostasy that threatens the Church and her flock. Cast aside your doubts, Inquisitor Brante, and be ready to fulfill your new righteous duty. Prepare yourself to set out for Anisote. A special assignment awaits you there. Sister Jean will accompany you as a fellow Inquisitor. She will tell you everything else you need to know. With that, Ulrich abruptly turns away and leaves the temple. Your answer is not required. The will of the Church is the law, and you must abide by it. You are left with Jean. Her sister in fate betrays no emotions. Her words sound sharp and dry. The time has come to bid the capital farewell, Brother Brante. We are leaving for Anisote tomorrow. With that, Jean leaves you alone in the temple. You turn back to the altar and finish your prayer. This is curious, we couldn't say no. Why do I have a feeling this whole thing is just a big setup? You have received your second sacrament. You are now rightfully ordained as a priest. Or like all priests turn out to be inquisitors? Surely not. Year 1137, winter. Diamond stands trial. Just before you leave the capital, you overhear something unusual on the street. Junius Diamond, Patriarch of Astinia and one of the leaders of the new faith, will stand trial before the church tribunal. The Order of the Inquisition has accused Patriarch Junius of patronizing blasphemous witches and disseminating heresy. The Holy Tribunal claims that Junius Diamond was scheming to free all witches and sorcerers from the collars that fetter their accursed powers. And what's worse, the Patriarch was also accused of forming the Lotless, a dangerous secret society based in the imperial capital. Members of this society have been assaulting inquisitors and priests of the church, as well as freeing witches from the cleansing fire and helping them escape the holy law. Now the Patriarch must face the Holy Tribunal of the Inquisition in Aeterneth. By all accounts, this is a devastating blow to the new faith and the end of days for Junius Diamond himself. The Inquisition will make the most of this opportunity to rid the land of this unwelcome Patriarch who dared to shake the foundation of the old faith. But then comes the sudden news of Patriarch Junius's reply to the Holy Tribunal. It is no less stunning than the accusation. These words are nothing but lies. I will say this to anyone who dares to bring this accusation against me in person. But I want those hypocrites to bear the full weight of their responsibility for this slander against me, my flock, the Diamond Dynasty, and the Holy Order. I agree to stand trial before the Holy Tribunal, but I will face them on my own land and on my terms. Patriarch Junius has already received strong support from Patriarch Luke and many priests across Archnia. Parishes of the new faith throughout the Empire are now speaking out in support of Junius Diamond. The Church of the Twin Gods is about to be rent in twain. The Inquisition has no choice but to revoke the trial in order to avert the coming schism. The new official stance is that Patriarch Junius has been wrongfully accused, and the Holy Tribunal will now apply more cautious judgment during any further trials against the followers of the new faith. Following the teachings of Patriarch Fotis is no longer seen as heresy by the Inquisition. Huh? Oh, because of the strength of the other. Okay. So that's why they are withdrawing their false accusations. Interesting. The trial of Junius Diamond has been averted, but the divide within the church is only deepening. The new faith has directly challenged the old faith. The result is uncertain, depending on who you ask. Some say Junius Diamond all but pled guilty. Others believe the Patriarch and the alleged rebellion against the Church as well as the Inquisition is nothing but ruse. There are also people who think the entire situation sounds like one of the secret chancellery's dirty deeds. One way or another, the Patriarch of Astinia and co-leader of the new faith remains at his post. But for how long? And how will the old faith and the new faith clash next? And that is the same question I have for you, dear viewer. How will they clash? I think we did good progress here. And I'm sort of happy with where things are going. I'm saying this because I plan to end it here. I'm happy where things are going, but not stats-wise. Let's be honest. But, you know, maybe this is, how should I say it? Something unavoidable before a conflict with the church, the power struggles. Patriarch Cassius, Patriarch of Magra, known opponent of the new faith. His father. Oh, because I think we are in Anisote. Okay, so we have that to look forward to in our own lands. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This series has been quite good. I like the story. There are so many niche things about it. Essentially, I'm just reading a book, but I quite enjoy it. It's not so much choose your own adventure. It is, but not in a way that I expected. Like, not too many choices, but the choices you make matter more, if that makes sense. And also they are quite clear most of the time, even if you have the hints hidden what they would do. Anyway, sorry, going on a rant at the end. I will see you guys next time, and I'm off. Bye bye.